From droughts to floods to winds and wildfires, we take a look back at what a year 2017 really was. Plus, our stories that you found most interesting this year. It's all coming up next on this special year-end edition of Inside Look. Hi, I'm Brian Maiden. As we get ready to welcome in 2018, we wanted to take a quick moment to look back at the historic year that was 2017. If you'll remember, 2016 ended with California in the 5th year of a drought going into the 6th year. But it did not take us long to realize 2017 was going to be a year unlike any this state had ever seen. It was historic. Yet another year of drought. 2016 saw some of the lowest reservoir levels on record. There still wasn't enough water to go around, but little did anyone know this was all about to change. And change it did, Mother Nature opening the floodgates. It was a hopeful sign, perhaps too much so. The skies opened up in December and rain began to fall, and fall, and fall.
The bigger impacts that they were going to see from this weather system have come through at about 4 o'clock here today.
What was a welcome sight turned into a nightmare of abundance. Rain poured into California in January and February in record proportions, leading to flooding, mudslides, erosion, and damage to roads. Delta levees were pushed to their limits, rivers filled to capacity. Here at the state capitol, Governor Jerry Brown declared a state of emergency for several counties. The President of the United States also issuing what would turn out to be the first of several major disaster declarations for California in 2017. The nation's tallest dam was holding back a massive amount of rainfall when the gated spillway cracked and crumbled apart. Water officials turned to the emergency spillway, using it for the first time since the dam was completed in 1968. But even that was no match for Mother Nature, as concerns about its possible failure prompted evacuations for more than 188,000 people.
It strikes me that this is quintessentially a challenge of engineers, of on-the-ground, hands-on people that know how to fix various construction elements of this dam.
Repairs on the Oroville Dam spillways continue to this day. Despite the damages, the winter storms did have a positive impact. In April, Governor Brown declaring an end to the drought state of emergency for most of California. But the governor was also quick to point out that even though the drought emergency is over, that doesn't mean conservation efforts can end. All of us must continue to conserve one of California's most precious resources. The wet winter also led to dangerous conditions in and around California's waterways. In May, we took you deep into the Sierra Nevada mountains and hopped aboard a swiftwater rescue training exercise. We learned firsthand, you just never know when the frigid, cold water will catch you by surprise.
The problem is, to make this training mission work,
From the rapids of the American River, we took you to California's beautiful coastline, where there is no vacation from water safety.
A common misconception is that rip currents pull swimmers underwater. In reality, they're strong currents that pull you away from the beach.
Riptide currents pose a significant danger all year long. We showed you how to spot them and what to do if you're caught in one. If water wasn't enough, in June, Mother Nature turned up the heat, scorching California, making the summer of 2017 the hottest on record. The state's energy grid was pushed to its limits, causing regulators to issue several flex alerts and prepare for potential brownouts. While California baked, the sleeping giants of California, our volcanoes, were fast asleep. We took a trip to see the volcano monitoring program. To date, it is one of the most watched videos we have ever produced across all of our social media platforms. That's what we talk about, mutual aid. They can be deployed at any point in time, anywhere. It wasn't all disasters. Our public information team visited the California State Fair, broadcasting live on First Responders Day and highlighting the efforts of our partners in public safety, CAL FIRE, CHP, the California Department of Public Health, and the California National Guard.
Thanks for coming out to the 12th annual California Day of Preparedness.
And we welcome thousands of you for a day of fun and education at our annual Preparedness Month kickoff event in Old Sacramento.
Hands up, everybody, hands up!
Also in 2017, we took you behind the scenes for a rare look at a very special tactical medical training exercise for law enforcement and EMS personnel. This training just one example of how first responders prepare for some of the most dangerous, most complex situations in California.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, here we go.
In September, you took center stage. We saw how people just like you were training to become force multipliers at a Citizens Emergency Response Team, or CERT, training exercise in Alameda.
The Category 4 hurricane is the strongest to hit the U.S. in 13 years.
Our spirit of neighbor helping neighbor led us to send mutual aid from California to Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and St. Croix after a series of hurricanes left thousands upon thousands homeless or stranded.
Follow from this way!
October took us to a multi-agency preparedness exercise in the San Francisco Bay Area. We took you behind the scenes of the USS Essex, an amphibious assault ship that could be used as a floating hospital in the event of a catastrophic earthquake or other disaster in California. 1 week later, the landscape of the state changed beyond anyone's imagination. A series of wildfires in the second week of October ripped through many parts of Northern California. Overnight, close to 9,000 structures were burned and 44 people lost their lives, making them the deadliest and most destructive week of wildfires in California history.
Thanks so much.
3 days after the fires began, the Vice President of the United States came to the State Operations Center to announce federal assistance from the White House.
President Trump asked me to come here this morning to assure the people of California that we will continue to work very closely with Governor Brown, with the state of California, with each one of you to support your courageous first responders and come alongside the families affected through loss of persons and property in the wake of these wildfires.
The destruction left behind in October led to the largest debris removal process since the 1906 earthquake. As of mid-December, debris removal operations teams have moved more than 600,000 tons of debris from more than 1,800 lots. As exhausted first responders were winding down, hoping for a winter break, they would face yet another wildfire disaster.
The largest fire tonight threatening heavily populated Ventura County.
This time in Southern California, fierce Santa Ana winds combined with dry brush and dead trees fueled fires in 6 different counties. The massive Thomas Fire, covering both Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, worked its way to the largest wildfire in California history. 2017 will end with more than 500,000 acres burned and new records for some of the largest and most destructive wildfires in state history.
This is the new norm, and we as an organization need to continue. It's not like, hey, in 2 weeks we're going to go back to the way it was, and I'm not going to have to worry about anything anymore. It's not the case. We're in it for the long haul. This is the way we do business now.
Here at the state's Emergency Operations Center near Sacramento, dozens of state and federal agencies come together when disasters strike. And this year, the lights stayed on in this room for 115 days. That's roughly a third of the year and more than most here can remember. 2017 has been a difficult year for first responders, emergency managers, and the countless communities affected by the events this year. And as 2018 begins, recovery continues, and we are hopeful for a more joyous and peaceful new year. I'm Brian May. For all of us at Cal OES, we wish you and yours a Happy New Year.